Welcome back to the Immigration Answers Show. My name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration attorney. My hair looks crazy today. Hope you all are doing well. I welcome you to episode number 231 of the Immigration Answers Show. I'll be here for the full hour answering as many of your immigration law related questions as possible. We have a new schedule now. From now on, we'll be recording most weeks on Monday at 1 Central, 4 p.m. Central on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and 3 p.m. Central on Fridays. So no show on Wednesdays anymore. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday will be our regular schedule. Looks like we already have some people in the waiting room, so I'm going to go ahead and get this party started. What do you say, George? You're on mute.
Is it okay now? Can you hear me?
I hear you now, George.
Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Very well, fine. Thank you. Very quick one. Let me just get into it. In your experience, what would you say would be good proof of evidence to show the consulate or the consular during a B2 medical interview where the government or a state government or federal government is sponsoring the patient?
Well, I think that I would bring all evidence of the medical diagnosis, documentation that the place you're going to be treated wants to see you and has agreed to see you. I think you have to prove up the medical disease and the legitimacy of the claim, that they want to make sure that it's valid and that's really why you're coming. And
Right,
so
right, right. I get this part. The one where I'm talking about is like the financial sponsorship, like where the government has to sponsor you. And because if we were to be like an individual, I guess the person has to show bank statements to prove, look, I have this X amount of money in my account, and then the consulate will say, oh, okay, yeah, you have the money. This person is able to do this. But where the government is going to be sponsoring this person.
Which government? The U.S. government or the foreign government?
The foreign government.
And do you have any documentation of that?
Yes. What would you say in your own experience would be like a good proof of evidence to show the consulates?
Well, I mean, first of all, we don't get involved in visit visas, so I don't know that I actually have a lot of experience in this, but to me, it's just regular old documentation. So if I'm saying something that I believe to be true, and then I'm the one who has to prove it up. So I would turn it back on you, and like, how do you even know or have documentation that they are in fact going to pay for you? Have they sent you a letter? Have they put it in an email? What proof do you have that they're going to pay for it?
Right. Because I do have somebody who is falls in this category, and the person got a letter from the foreign government, and the person just wanted to know if that letter from the government would suffice.
I mean, I would say I would want that, but I'd also want some documentation that I'm not very, very poor, that I have money in my own bank account. I mean, obviously not necessarily that they're going to pay themselves for the medical part of it, but that they can support themselves while they're in the United States.
Okay. All right. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, George. See you, buddy.
Have a nice one. Yeah.
All right. That was George. Let's say hi to Luigi. What do you say, Luigi?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good as well. Thank you for your time. Let me pull up my question here because I wrote it down.
Great.
Okay. So my mom had requested a green card for my brother, his wife, and my nephew via the F3 immigrant visa in 2009.
Yep.
At this time, we passed the filing action date, and we are waiting for the final action date. NVC has validated all of our documents, but last week my nephew disappeared from the request, and we don't know why.
How old is he?
He just turned 22 this year.
Oh, so maybe he aged out, or maybe they just think he aged out.
So my question also is, does his age not get locked in when we put in the application?
No, not necessarily. It's not that simple. There is something called the Child Status Protection Act that involves math and that might preserve his date. And I would think if he's 22, it probably would preserve his date. But sometimes the National Visa Center doesn't always get that. So I think that you probably need to do the calculation to see what his age is. So basically, you need to know when the I-130 was filed, when USCIS approved it, how old he was, and then there's some math that goes on after that. But if he's only 22, he's probably still on the application. I don't think you need to worry about it right now because nothing's happening right now. But once things start moving again, you might have to convince them that his age froze under 21, and sometimes that takes a little bit of back and forth. We've had to explain it to them not once, not twice, but 3 times before. So I think that maybe there's like an automatic part to it that does it, and then you have to like fix it. You have to show them how to fix it, if that makes sense.
Got it. Is it easier if we were to hire a lawyer to do that, or?
I think so. I think so. I mean, I think it's helpful to do the math, and then I think it's helpful to advocate. Which embassy will this interview be at?
France, Paris, France.
Oh, okay. So not one that's like notoriously mean or anything. So yeah, I think it'd be worthwhile certainly to have us take a look at it, and it doesn't take long to do the math. I can do it for your brother and his family. It's not a big deal, but just send us an email, and I'll need the I-130 approval notice and the kid's date of birth. If you send me those 2 things, I should be able to figure it out. If not, I'll ask you another question or 2.
Okay, 130 approval date.
Yeah, approval. I need the approval notice because I need to know the date it was filed and the date it was approved.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jim. Appreciate
Thanks,
your
Luigi.
time.
See you, buddy. Yeah, for sure. Bye. All right. Let's say hi to H. What do you say, H? You're on mute, H.
Hi, Mr. Hacking. Thank you so much for all your help. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing? You have a good weekend?
Yeah. What about you? Good?
Yes, I have sat outside for at least 5 hours a day in the heat for the last 8 days, so I'm just really excited to be sitting in air conditioning.
Makes sense. Mr. Hacking, I have some questions. They're kind of simple, but at the same time complex. So here you go. I'm already an asylum, and I've already been more than a year as an asylum. I applied for my green card based on asylum approximately like 1 year and 1 month ago, and I haven't still received an answer from them. The only thing I saw on the webpage is like your fingerprints are going to be used in this case. I already called them. We're going to give you a notice or an update within 90 days. Nothing yet. So I want to know a good time frame that I should wait to sue them, like 1 year and 8 months, 2 years.
Did you get your asylum from the immigration judge or from the asylum office?
From the asylum office.
And when you have your green card, if you have a green card interview on your case, what city would it be in?
That's a great question, because when that happened, when I applied, I was in Utah. I moved to Texas, but now it seems that my case went to a field office in Florida. So I'm confused.
Was your asylum interview in Florida?
No, the asylum interview was in Utah. And at that time, when I went to the USCIS page, it says that my case was under the National Benefit Center. I moved to Texas, I update the address, and one time I called them like, hey, what's going on with my case, blah, blah, blah. Now your case is under this office in Florida. So I was like, what?
Yeah, that's not good. When did you, what's the receipt date on the 485?
It says that it was received on June 30th of 2021.
I mean, technically you could sue now just because we know that it's in the wrong place. I might wait a little bit, maybe like 16 months total. So maybe like October. If you don't hear something from October, then maybe sue them then.
Okay. Thank you. Other question that I have, the form, I think it's called I-693, the medical test, blah, blah, blah. On the top right corner, it has an expiration date. So that's the actual date?
That's the what date?
That's the actual expiration date, because once more than 2 years that it has gone through, you have to renew it. So it's that the actual expiration date of that test?
No. Did you do the medical when you submitted your 45?
Yes.
You should be fine then. Yeah, it's good for 2 years from the date of filing. So you should be fine. Don't worry about that. Expiration date means when they're going to stop using that form and when they hopefully will provide a new form to use for everybody. It's not about your case. It's just the publication date and when they plan to sunset it. But sometimes it takes them years or months after the expiration date to issue the new one, and people just keep using the old one.
Okay. So basically, I just have to wait till October, approximately
Yeah.
16 months, and then if I don't receive nothing from them, just
Yeah,
initiate.
are you closer to Dallas or Houston?
Dallas.
Yeah, see, I mean, the U.S. attorney in Dallas is great. So, yeah, I would say September, October.
September, October initiative. Okay. Oh, that was all my questions, Mr. Hawkins. Thank you so much for all the help, and good luck to everyone.
Thanks, H. See you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, that was H. Let's say hi to Dan. We're just flying through people today. Hi, Dan. You're on mute.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear me?
Got you. How you doing, Dan?
I'm good, thank you. I just have a quick question for a friend. So he filed an application, a marriage-based application in 2020, and went for an interview in 2021 with his spouse. During the time of the interview, they had issues before the interview actually, but they decided to go regardless, right?
You mean
So
they were
after a
they were
couple of
fighting they were fighting before the like in the weeks before the interview, but they went ahead with the interview anyway.
yes.
Got it. Okay.
So few weeks after the interview, actually a few months later, he decided he wanted to withdraw the case, right? So he sent in an application, a request to withdraw the case.
Who did, the citizen or the non-citizen?
The non-citizen.
Okay, because the non-citizen can only withdraw the 45. They can't. A non-citizen can't withdraw an I-130.
But she signed. His wife signed.
Oh, she did. Oh, they both
Yeah,
signed
she
it.
did.
Okay.
No, I'm saying he put in the request. Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
she signed the application and then the request. So in July, we got a denial letter for the case. But then the denial is based on Section 245 of the Immigration and Nationality Act.
What did it say?
1NA 245. It said to qualify for adjustment under under INA 245, an applicant must be inspected or admitted or be eligible to receive an immigrant visa. He's married to a U.S. citizen, so I don't understand that. But anyway, a month after this, after the denial letter, we got the withdrawal letter that says that the signature was forged.
Yikes.
Yeah. So we don't understand why denial came before the withdrawal.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So they don't have to let you withdraw a case, and sometimes to screw you, they withdraw it, right? So, so has anyone spoken to the in this scenario? I'm assuming that the U.S. citizen. Has anyone spoken to the U.S. citizen lately?
Yeah. He
Does the
spoke to
U.S.
his wife
citizen?
this morning. Yeah.
I mean, to me, the only way they come up with that forgery argument is if the U.S. citizen told them that they didn't sign that withdrawal.
Oh. Well, she did sign it though, so.
Yeah, but just because she signed it doesn't mean she told them that she signed it.
Oh, okay.
People do all kinds of crazy stuff when USCIS comes knocking on their door, so that wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
So just timeline. Well, did the interview go badly?
It wasn't really bad, according to what he told me. He just said that they asked a couple of questions, but he was quite sick on the day of the interview, so he couldn't take his medical stuff with him. So he was expecting what's that thing called? The request for evidence, more evidence, and then we got a denial.
So let me ask you this question: the beneficiary, the spouse, the beneficiary, were they, when they got married, were they in status or were they out of status?
Out of status.
Yeah. So USCIS thinks that this person just cooked up this marriage, and showing up at your interview saying I'm sick and I don't feel like answering questions, like that's another strike against you. And then they probably went to the spouse after the withdrawal and talked to the spouse and scared him and got him to say that the withdrawal was a forgery.
Okay. So what's the way forward? It's been denied, and then there's this thing on the withdrawal letter. We
Well,
don't know.
forget all that stuff. What the person would so let's just say that for the sake of argument, let's just say that the I-130 and the 45 were never filed, right?
Okay.
So then right now that person's just a visa overstay, right? Like they would need a new independent way to stay here. They have nothing otherwise. So what's the new plan, I guess is my question.
I mean, the plan was to file a VAWA, which is why I wanted to withdraw the case and just file that. But then the denial came before that. So
Well, denial and then a poison note of fraud, right? So
yeah.
what's the proof of violence?
They had, I think, according to what he told me, she, she's very violent. He had to, she fought in the house and broke the glasses, the
What's
mirrors.
the proof? What's the proof though?
There's a video.
Okay, so what country is the beneficiary from?
Nigeria.
So just so you know, they've heard the and the beneficiary is a man. The beneficiary is a man.
Yes, he is. Yes.
Yeah. So they've heard this story of Nigerian visa overstay, marries a woman. She's not right in the head. She files an I-130 for them. They get divorced. Then they file a 360. So they've heard this story that you're telling me probably 2,000 times. So they're very suspicious of it. So I don't know if a VAWA case is going to go anywhere. And I think that what really needs to happen is somebody needs to look over what was filed. Somebody needs to do a Freedom of Information Act request to get a complete copy of the immigration file. But this sounds like right out of there must be this like Nigerian playbook on how to get a green card in the United States. And that is go to the embassy, get a visit visa by saying that you're married or because you're married, then get divorced, then come to the United States, then overstay, then marry a crazy lady, then file a shitty I-130, then get it denied, rejected, or withdrawn, and then make a VAWA claim. And that, like, I've heard that myself, me on this show 10 times, in my life 50 times, which means if I've heard it that many times, USCIS has seen this story. Like there must be somebody selling this story on the internet. Like this is how you do it.
So you don't think we should go ahead with the VAWA? Because
maybe, but I wouldn't get my hopes up, because if they think they can prove that signature withdrawing the I-130 was fraudulent, and I think they would think they have that proof because I think they've talked to the U.S. citizen, then I think anything else that you file is really going to be hard to overcome.
Have any questions? What do you suggest? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I think you've got to attack that fraud finding. You got to attack that forgery finding. And to me, if I were the lawyer on this case, I would start with the ex-wife and see what in the hell happened.
Right. But she keeps saying she didn't do anything, that they didn't call her. So I don't know.
Well, I think she's lying.
Right.
And I think that if you get a copy of the file and maybe have her request the file too, if she's willing, then I think you might be able to read between the lines and figure something out. But I think this is a very hard case moving forward.
Right. Thank you so much, Jim. We appreciate it.
Good luck. Thanks so much. All right. That was a tricky case. Let's say hi to Faye.
Oh.
What do you say, Faye?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing? I like that artwork behind you. Oh, I see you back there.
Thank you. Yes, me and my daughter.
Nice.
I have a couple questions and I'll try to go through them quickly. So I'm in the process of filing the adjustment of status for my fiance, well, now husband. And the question I have is on the for I-864, when it asks for the information as it relates to sponsor, since we're married, am I completing this in my new married name or am I completing this as I originally filed with USCIS?
So did he come on a fiance case, or did he come? He did. And so since then you've gotten married and now you're filing for him to get a green card, and you're filling out the I-864, which is the affidavit of support, and you're wondering if you use your real name, your prior name, or your current name.
Right.
It doesn't matter, whichever you prefer. I would probably use the married name.
Okay. And then the other question I have is there's a section in this form concerning the household size, and you cannot enter one individual no more than one time. So
Right.
then when it asks me if I am currently married and for me to enter one for my spouse, if I've already entered him as the person that I'm filing the petition for, do I not enter a one for the one for the spouse at that time again? Because you can only count one person one time.
Faye, I hate to admit it, but I don't know the answer to that question. And the reason I don't know the answer to that question is because one of the great benefits of owning your own law firm is you never have to file an I-864 again. So I just don't know the answer.
Okay. Do you know whether or not in the filing of is it the 485 page? In the filing of the 485, which is the adjustment of status, does that include does it include the 765 for the work authorization, or is that a separate fee?
The fee for the advanced parole, work authorization, and green card are all in that $1225 fee you pay for the 485. You don't have to pay a separate fee for the 765 or the 131.
Okay. But we do have to pay a separate fee for biometrics.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're going to send in, it's $1140 is the green card and $85 is a biometric. So when we send it in, we send in you would send in one check made out to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for $1,225.
Okay. I was only questioning that part because they put an alert on USCIS website saying that that you have to have two separate payments. So I wasn't sure whether or not that was for the biometrics and then the $1140 for everything else.
No, I think what they probably mean is usually most people, unlike your husband who came on a fiance, usually they're filing an I-130 as well. And
Okay.
usually it's $535 check for the I-130 and $1,225 for the 485.
Understood. Okay. And so the next question I have on the name of so we don't need to go over that. So filing time on this for us to do the adjustment of status, does that have to be done before the 90 days expire on the point of entry, or we can do it at any time?
The sooner the better. If you can do it within the 90, the better. But if you did it after, that's okay. It's just as long as you get married in the 90 days. That's the important thing.
Right. When we've already done that part, I'm just trying to make sure that we don't have, if we have to file the paperwork before the 90 days is up, that's what I'm trying to clarify. If we don't, I need about a week time more after it expires.
Yeah, that should be okay.
Okay. All right. I think is that everything, babe? Cool. Thank you very much, Jim. That's it.
Bye, Faye. See ya.
All right. You too.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. All right, let's head to James. Hi, James.
Hello, Mr. Hacking. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thank you. I applied for asylum in 2016, and since then it is pending.
Yeah.
So recently, the congressperson in our town, we made an inquiry, and they got a letter that is still in pending.
Right.
And they advised that I can send an email address that we can put myself on a short notice list or an expediting interview. So these are two separate things or the same thing?
Same thing.
Same thing. Is it wise to do that, or is it more dangerous or risky?
Well, I guess my question would be, you applied for asylum 6 years ago.
Yes.
And generally, when you get your interview notice for asylum, you usually only have 2 or 3 weeks. So you sort of have to scramble. So my question would be, what have you done lately to develop supplemental or updated evidence, current evidence, because conditions might have changed back in your home country, or USCIS might think that conditions have changed in your home country. So what we often do, because we get hired sometimes, James, to sue USCIS about asylum delays like this, is more often than not, I'll say, James, I'm happy to sue for you. I can get you an interview in 2 months' time. But really, let's focus on making the case a lot stronger before we do that. So for me, in my mind, if I'm you, I'm thinking to myself, well, why did I claim asylum? Have things gotten better, worse, or the same? Have things changed in my life that I want to highlight? But I would say, close my eyes and pretend that I've received my notice. my interview's in 2 weeks. What can I get together in 2 weeks? And then start doing things to expedite, sue, call the congressperson, all that stuff. I think people get it backwards sometimes.
Right. I totally agree with that. So is getting on a short list is suing them or?
No. It's the same thing. It's just another way to try to get things moving, but you need to be ready, because when you're on short list, you could even get less than 2 weeks notice. Like you could get 2 days notice. Like for us in St. Louis, we don't have an asylum office. Our asylum office is in Chicago. So we've gotten on the short list before, and so the officers from Chicago, they'll send down 2 officers to hang out here for 2 weeks, and they'll just knock out interviews, and then someone will cancel, and they'll say, "Oh, who's on our short list? Oh, James, can you come in tomorrow at 2:00?" Like literally tomorrow at 2:00. So then you really got to be ready. That's even more than the lawsuit.
Right. So it's not getting on their face, but it's just a humble request to be on a short list.
It's I mean, James, nobody thinks of lawsuits even as getting in their face. They don't get mad about that. So I wouldn't be worried about that so much. But no, I mean, that's the humblest, to put it in your words, that's the humblest way of all. And that's just like trying to be efficient. And hey, we don't want you to have this empty slot, and I have this long pending case. It'd be great if you could slot me in.
Right, without annoying them.
Definitely not annoying them.
Correct. And the recipe is to get everything 100% ready before sending them that email.
Or at least, like at around the same time.
If we do that, so we could expect them within a month or 2.
Maybe. Yeah,
right.
Maybe.
So another thing is my mom is a US citizen and dad is on green card. They did file for my other siblings. They are not here, some of them. They sponsored them, but it's a long wait, maybe a couple of years. Is it worth if my mom put a petition for me as well as a US citizen?
Were you in status at the time that you applied for asylum?
I was just 4 months out of status.
Yeah, 1 day out of status, then you can't do it through mom because you're not an immediate relative.
Right.
A pending asylum case can be a bridge to adjustment if you were in status at the time you applied. But if you weren't in status at the time you applied, then it can't be a bridge.
Right. Right. And the line for the siblings is, I think, pretty slow.
Yeah.
It's still like 10, 12 years on a wait line.
It's like 14.
Right. And probably this will be this thing in future as well.
What do you mean? Do I think that's going to get better? No, I don't think that's going to get better.
Correct. Last question I had, I have a master's and working here in a profession, and I looked at some video that says EB2 and IW thing.
Same problem. Same problem. You're out of status from the purposes of immigration standpoint, so you can't adjust because you were out of status at the time that you applied for asylum.
Even 4 months is still gonna be an issue.
1 day.
So the waiver wouldn't work in that way.
Maybe in theory, but I mean, that's a real long shot. I mean, national interest waiver is always a long shot, but to think that you're going to be able to get them to, I mean, in theory, yes, that would work, but I think the chances are very small.
They would still request to go back to the country and get the visa from there.
For sure.
All right. Thank you for your clarity. I really appreciate your show, Mr. Hacking.
Have a great day, James.
Thank you.
See you, buddy.
See you. Take care.
All right. Next up, Olu. What do you say, Olu? Olu, are you with us? You're on mute.
Hi, Jim. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I was supposed to be traveling to Nigeria for my kids' interview.
I remember.
I didn't get to go because I tested positive for COVID. So
that sucks.
I'm self-quarantined now. But the good thing is I got someone to take them and they were issued the visa.
Nice.
So I did, as you said, got an affidavit from their mom. Did one here myself because I couldn't travel. So I did an affidavit that I couldn't travel and I sent it over there.
Great.
The good thing is they've been issued the visa, and But this is where I'm confused. My 14 days end next week, so I should be traveling next week. But my question is, I see somewhere online that I'm supposed to pay a $220 fee.
The LS fee. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it says that they're going to be giving a letter that has their A number and everything, but they were never given. They just issued the visa on their passport, but they were never given an A number or anything to pay.
The A number should be in the passport on the visa.
Yeah, I think I that's the registration number, right?
No, there should be a flat out A number on there, like 9 digits. It should say A and then 9 digits.
It didn't say that on there. They sent me a picture of it. I can share that with you privately. I don't have an issue with that, but it's still, I'm looking at it now.
You can email it to me if you want. I can ask around here too about if there's another way to figure out what the A number is to pay the LSV. How old are the kids?
My son is 14. My daughter is 11.
Okay, yeah, send that over to me. I'll take a look at it. I'll ask Kaylee or one of the paralegals from the overseas visa part of the firm and ask them.
Okay, I'll send both to you. Should I just send it to the regular email?
Yep.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you, Olu.
Thank you so much, sir.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
That's Olu. He's done an amazing job getting his own immigration squared away and getting his kids here. I applaud Olu and all of his good work. It's really hard to believe what he's been able to pull off. So good luck to him. Hopefully he's feeling better. Let's say hi to Sonny. Hi, Sonny.
Hey, Jim. How's it going?
Good.
Thanks for your time and thanks for sharing all this advice with people.
Sure.
So my situation is probably relatively simple compared to some of these others. So I've been in the U.S. since 2012 on an F1. Started dating my girlfriend back then, wife now in 2015. We got married in 2020. And then filed for adjustment of status in 2021. We had our interview in June of this year, first week of June. We're in San Francisco.
Okay.
And at the interview, the officer basically indicated that, hey, it looks like I should have everything to approve your case, but he still handed us like a continuation form.
Mm-hmm.
And he said we should hear back within 30 days. It's obviously been almost 60 days now, and we haven't heard anything. So just wanted to get your advice on whether it makes sense to like follow up with them or sue them, or what do you think I should do?
So how did the interview go? Did they split you up?
No, we didn't get split up. It was relatively straightforward. There was a few like minor hiccups, nothing serious. I think the officer understood. There were like, for example, like the officer asked, "What's your address on the license?" to my wife, and it was still her parents' house. It wasn't actually our apartment, but she got that wrong. And then also the pay stubs from her.
When you say she got it wrong, you mean she just said like
she assumed it was our address where we lived together. But it's actually her parents' house. And also, she had just started a new job, and it was less than 2 weeks since she started, so she didn't have a pay stub from the latest job to show her wage. But she did share pay stubs from the prior job and also got a letter from the employer saying, this is her salary. And we also had tax returns and everything like that. Those are like the only two like big, or not big, but like only two hiccups. But overall, I would say the interview went well. The officer even said at the end, and I quote, "I should have everything to approve your case." So it seemed like it went well when we left.
Why, if you had to guess, why do you think the officer hasn't approved it yet?
That's a good question. I think I would say it's either comes down to the lack of pay stubs from her recent job to prove that she. Okay.
I don't think that's it.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I've never had any overstays or anything like that.
And I mean, you guys have a really long history together.
Yeah, and we showed, photos of us basically growing all together over like, 8 years or whatever.
Yeah, that's a long time. What about like marital evidence on a scale of 1 to 10? How much do you think you gave them?
7. So, at least 2 years of joint tax filings, car insurance, renter's insurance, photos together, beneficiary for life insurance on both sides.
How
So
long?
yeah,
How long have you and your spouse lived at the address that you're living at?
since March 2020, so a little over 2 years as of the interview.
And was your spouse able to articulate that address? She just was unclear as to what the address was on her own driver's license.
Well, I actually jumped in and like corrected her, and then the interviewer or the officer told me to like not talk anymore.
Right.
And he actually did that a couple times, and then I realized, okay, I'm probably overstepping here, and so I need to keep quiet. So
when else did you do that?
When we were going through photos and we had visited, I have some relatives in Austin, like aunts and uncles and cousins, and he asked, like, when we had photos together, so he asked like, who is this person, who's this person, who's this person, and she called my uncle a cousin by mistake, and so I jumped in and like corrected her, saying like, no, that was actually a cousin, not an uncle, or the other way around, that was actually an uncle, not a cousin. That was one spot. There was like a couple other, I can't really remember exactly.
I wonder if he thought you were like trying to coach her or control her or speak for her.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, once he said, I need you to not do this anymore, I immediately stopped.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
For me, Sonny, it always comes down to how the U.S. citizen does. So did you feel like she was adequately prepared?
Yes, definitely. But I think even, she said the words, I thought you'd be more nervous than I was after leaving. So I think she was definitely,
she was nervous. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. But yeah, definitely adequately prepared. Like we had a lawyer, and the lawyer gave us a bunch of questions to run through. We ran through all those questions. We prepared well.
The lawyer didn't go to the interview?
So we had the option, but it was like $1,000. Looking back, I should have probably just done it, but we decided not to. Yeah.
So what's the actual filing date of the 485?
May 6th, 2021.
Yeah. I don't know. I might give them another month or so and then think about suing them. I think they're probably going to come visit you at your house. I think you've spooked them, and they're not sure that you guys live together.
Okay.
Are you both on the lease and everything?
Yep, and we gave them a copy of that.
Yeah, he might have just he or she might have just gotten distracted.
Yeah,
working on other cases.
Yeah,
but there must have been some. He must not have liked that coaching stuff. I can't think of what else it would be.
Got it. I mean, I would love for them to come visit and then just get this over with.
Right. The trick though is to get them to actually come.
Right. Okay, so wait a month and then think about potentially suing.
Yeah.
Cool. One follow-up question.
Sure.
So I got advanced parole back in December along with my EAD. It's like a combo card. I have a work trip to Europe in the first week of September. I can avoid it, but it would kind of be. I would like not to.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine.
You think that's fine? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've heard you tell other people not to.
I mean, but if you have a reason to go, you got a reason to go. I mean, how long will you be gone? Just a week?
September 1st to 11th.
Yeah, I think that'll be okay.
Cool. And then also planning on potentially going back home with my wife in November for a couple of weeks. But yeah, hopefully everything is squared away by then. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just let me know.
Yeah, we'll probably, if I don't hear in another month, we'll probably reach out to you, your office, and go from there.
Thanks, Sonny.
Yeah. Thanks for your help.
See you, bud. All right. Let's say hi to Legand. Legand, you there? Nope. Legand is gone. All right. Say hi to Franklin. Hi, Franklin. You're on mute.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Franklin. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you turn down the volume? We're getting feedback from the last call.
Okay. All right. Say hi to Franklin. Hi, Franklin. How about now?
That sounds better. What can I help you with?
You're on mute. Well, I'm not on mute. I'm on mute. Hi, Jim.
All right, you gotta turn off. You gotta turn off the browser or something. We'll come back to you, Franklin. Let's say hi to Chizzy. Hi, Chizzy.
Hi, Jim. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I just want to ask a quick question, actually. So I filed for my I-485 change of status. That was around February, March, with my lawyer, and I got my EAD. That was on July 29th. I'm yet to get my social security number. Do I have to go to the social security office, or do I have to wait for USCIS to ship it to me?
Did you check the box that said you wanted them to do it?
Yes, my lawyer did that.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, the good news is you got your EAD really quickly, right? The bad news is you got your EAD really quickly. So Social Security probably isn't being as fast. So I think you might go over there. I wouldn't make a formal request for another number. Maybe just ask them what you just asked me and see what they say to do. Okay. I don't want you to end up with two Social Security numbers. That's a big problem. So I'd go to the Social Security office and say, hey, I filled out this 765 and I made a request for a Social Security number. I haven't gotten the Social Security number. What do you think I should do? And see what they say.
Okay, I should go to the Social Security office or the USCIS?
Social Security.
Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll do just that. And okay, that should be it for now. Maybe if there's any other thing, I'll call back later.
Thanks, Chizzy.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.
Yep. All right. Franklin, are you there?
I am here, sir.
Oh, that's better.
Okay. I have two questions. I have questions for myself and for someone else. First of all, for me, I filed for my green card adjusting from asylum, and I had a charge which was dismissed. They requested for evidence, and I sent it to them. But it's been more than 80 days now. I've not heard anything, and I'm not sure if they will schedule an interview.
Charge for what?
The first one was a charge for assault on a pregnant person. It was dismissed. And then the other one was interference with a 911 call, which was deferred prosecution, which was also dismissed.
Well, so people say a lot of things are dismissed. What does that mean, dismiss? If you got deferred prosecution, it wasn't dismissed.
Well, so the deferred prosecution was for the misdemeanor. The condition was that one I had to get. Well, the felony was dismissed. Then this other one was a deferred prosecution.
Okay, so what's the question?
It's been more than 80 days since I gave the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not heard anything. Is it what do I just keep waiting, or can I go ahead and sue?
Well, I mean, I'd want to look at all the criminal stuff. Did you talk to an immigration lawyer before you pleaded guilty to that stuff?
Oh, I did not plead guilty to anything.
Nothing.
No.
Okay. Yeah. How long ago did you file the 45 itself?
In March of 2020.
So it's been
March of 2021.
Oh, so it's been 1 year and a couple months. I might give it a couple more months.
Okay.
The RFE slowed things down. I might give them until maybe the end of the year.
Okay. All right. Then the other question, I have a friend who's on the J1 visa and would like to adjust to an F1 visa.
Yeah, they're probably gonna have to go home to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so it's not possible to do it while in the state.
I wouldn't say it's impossible, but the problem is those things used to take 2 months to process. Now they take a year. So what's going to happen? I mean, if his J1 is still valid for a year and he wants to try it, he could, but it might be better to just go home and try it from home.
Okay. There's no guarantees though.
No guarantees either way. Going home, they might not let you come back. So, there's no guarantees either way.
Okay. Well, so what about you said something about asylum being a bridge? If the person tries to go the asylum route before filing, would that work?
Well, first of all, you can't file asylum just to have it be a bridge. It has to be a valid asylum claim. Number
Oh,
two.
oh yeah, I know that.
So number two, you have to file for asylum within a year of arrival or have a good reason for not having done that.
Okay.
And number three, I don't know. That's not the kind of bridge I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that are trying to adjust status, not change status from J1 to F1. So I don't know if that really helps.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I don't understand the terms. That's why I thought it.
That's okay. You're fine. Yeah. Thanks, Franklin.
Thank you so much.
Okay, see ya. All right, next up, Vinicius. Hi, Vinicius.
Hi there, Mr. Hacking. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
I have my case is at the NVC. It became current in mid 2020, and I've been documentary qualified since early 2021, and there's still no sign of an interview. And I'm wondering, I mean, how long is too long to be waiting for this? I mean, does it depend on the embassy? Is there any way to get an indication to when they're gonna call me for an interview?
Is this Brazil?
No. I am originally from Brazil, but I'm also Norwegian citizen, and I'll be interviewed in Copenhagen.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, it's been documentary qualified for over a year.
A year and a half now.
Yeah, and is this
March
marriage
2021.
marriage based or something else?
No, I am the unmarried son of a U.S. citizen.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, you should sue them for sure. That's plenty long.
I should sue who? The Department of State?
And the embassy in Denmark. Yep.
So I have two passports, and I applied when we first applied. I wasn't a Norwegian citizen yet, so we applied with my Brazilian passport, and that's what I kept through with the process. So when I send my documents, when the case became current, and I sent all my documents, I obviously sent a copy of my Norwegian passport as well, but I applied with my Brazilian passport basically.
So that
Do you
might have
think
that might have confused them a little bit, yeah. But you made it clear to them that you want to consular process in Copenhagen, not in Brazil.
Yeah, I have yes, because I was a resident already here anyway, and when we first applied, and this is in 2014, took all of these years. So I have to sue the Department of State then.
That's what I would do.
And what would that do? That will get me an interview?
I think so. I mean, in 90% of the cases, when we sue them, they just start working on the case. I mean, you've been waiting a really long time, so I think they'd get working on yours. In 10% of the cases, they file a motion to dismiss and say, Judge, you shouldn't really make us do anything faster. Where does your mom live?
In America, in Boston.
Boston, yeah. So we'd file it in federal court in Massachusetts and ask a judge to make them decide the case faster so that you can be reunited with your mom.
Yeah, and I assume that once I go to the interview, I have to redo all of my documents, right? Like these police clearances and things like that. I have to retranslate everything and.
Yep. Yeah, I would say if you sue them, I would start working on that stuff sort of around the same time that you do the lawsuit so that you're ready when they call you for your interview.
Yeah, and what do you charge for this?
So my legal fee is $4,600 and the filing fee is $402. So it's $5,002. If you pay up front, you get $500 off. So it'd be $4,502, right? And otherwise, it's people pay us $3,002 up front and then $500 a month for 4 months.
Yeah, and if I understand correctly, this is something that would probably take 6 months or something like that once you documentary qualified, or even when the case becomes current. But you don't think you still think that a year and a half is a very long time with everything that happened because of COVID and presidential proclamations and all that?
in 90% of the cases, they just move on them. On some of them, they decide to fight. I think your case is a little bit confusing for them. So they're probably just going to sit on it until you sue them. Not saying that for sure, but you're way past regular processing times, I think. And I think it's because of that second passport.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your answer. And I'll be getting in touch probably. Okay.
Thanks, Vinicius. See you, buddy.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right. Let's go to Timothy. What's up, Timothy?
Hey, Jim. Thank you for taking my call. First time calling, and I really appreciate it. So, Jim, I have a question. I have two questions. So, the first one is for my wife. So, she had her N400 interview on June 22nd, and everything went great. And they even told her that she passed the interview, and then she's gonna be receiving like a letter in about 2 to 3 weeks for the for the ceremony, right?
Yep.
So we'll be waiting for, I don't know, almost like 2 months, not wait 2 months, like over like a month and a half now, but we haven't heard anything yet. So I'm just wondering, like, should we be like worried about it, or
Where does your wife live?
we live in El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas. Okay.
Yes.
Do you know if people in El Paso have their ceremonies with a judge or at USCIS? Do you know the answer to that question?
Ooh, I don't know that answer.
So it might be that they're just waiting to schedule her for a ceremony. There might be people ahead of her in line. I wouldn't be that worried about it. I'd give it another month or so before I start worrying. Of course, they get 4 full months. So I would say if you haven't heard anything 120 days after the interview, then call me. But otherwise, I think you're okay. I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jim. And my second question is from one of my friends. So he's a U.S. citizen, and his wife is back home in Africa, and he filed the I-129, and everything went smooth.
Wait, did you say his wife or his fiance?
So it was his fiance, but in the meantime, he got married to her.
Yeah.
But like they filed the I-129 first.
So they got to start over.
Yes, so he had to start over. So he did the I-130, and I think he applied on March 2022, and until now he hasn't heard anything yet. So do you think he has to be worried as well? He just has to wait.
That takes a year.
That takes a year. Okay. And do you think that because he filed the wrong form the first time, like, does he have to be a little bit? No, you don't think so? Okay, so he should be fine.
I think so.
Okay. All right, Jim. That's all I have. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. All right, everybody. Remember, if you want to come on, I need to see your face in the waiting room. You don't necessarily have to have your face on while you're on the call, but I need to know that you're there. I'm going to go to Nabila next, and then I'll go to Nafisa. All right, Nabila. How are you, Nabila?
Hi, Jim. First of all, I want to say thank you. I'm a long-time listener, and I really appreciate what you're doing for our community here.
Sure.
Yes, and my question, it might seem very obvious and maybe stupid to you, but I just wanted to make doubly sure.
It's fine. No such thing as a stupid question. Go ahead.
All right. So I just to give you a timeline of my immigration process, I was previously living in Canada. I got married to my U.S. citizen husband in October 2020. And then I returned to Canada, did consular processing, got approved in December 2021, moved in February 2022. So I've been here for about 6 months. And at this point, my mother, who lives in India, requires, like, she's got diagnosed with cancer. And so I need to go be with her for 3 months, 3 to 4 months, or to assist her in her care. And my understanding is if you're away, after you get a green card, if you're away for up to 6 months, you're okay. There'll be no questions when you return. Anything longer gets a little dicey. Is that correct? Would I be okay?
Well, first of all, let me say sorry about your mom. I hope she gets on the mend and that everything's good and that she heals up properly. Yeah, generally that's true. So when you get you Nabila, you actually have your physical green card, right?
Yes.
And it's a conditional 2-year green card, or it's a 10-year green card?
It's a 2-year green card.
Okay. So you need to be thinking sort of about three things. One is, how do I make sure I don't lose my lawful permanent resident status? Number two is, how do I make sure I'm in good shape for my 751 when I have to remove my conditions? And third is, how do I set myself up for citizenship if that's something that interests you? Okay. All right. So in answer to your question, yes. So if you go on a trip for 3 or 4 months, you're not going to have a problem. If you're gone for 6 months and a day, then you're going to have problems with your green card. So don't do that. Okay.
Okay.
You're going to want to make sure that if you are gone for a big chunk, so if you're gone for 6 months out of the 2 years, or if you go over for 5 months and then come back for a month and then are back over there for 5 months, you're going to need to be documenting how you stay in contact with your spouse. So you're going to want to make sure to keep evidence of your communications, how you support each other, how your spouse supports you while you take care of your mom, all that stuff, right? You're also going to want to develop medical evidence to show why you're there helping take care of your mom back home in India, okay?
Okay.
And then with citizenship, I think that sometimes when people get their green cards and then leave right away, sometimes USCIS likes to screw with those people. So I would say before you apply for citizenship, you're going to want to talk to an immigration lawyer to see when exactly you should file. Because sometimes, like, let's say somebody gets their green card and then a month later they're gone for 6 months. Well, sometimes USCIS says, oh, well, you didn't really start being a resident until you came back from that 6-month trip. So you got to keep sort of all those things in mind when you're thinking about how long you're going to be gone.
Okay, so my 3-year clock might end up starting after I return.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, you've been here a while now, so it usually happens to people that come, get their green card, and leave right away. But like what I always tell people on the back end of this is that if money's a concern, maybe wait a little longer to apply. But if you want to take your chance, take your chance. So, I mean, again, that's something to assess 3 years from now, as long as you've kept, no trips more than 6 months.
Okay. All right. Doesn't sound like it's that bad.
No.
I think I can manage it. Yeah. Okay. And this doesn't affect the time when I would be applying for the 751, right? I still have to apply 6 months before the 2 year.
3 months before.
Oh, 3 months before. Sorry. Okay. That's good. Thank you so much, Jim.
All right. Good luck to you and your mom, Nabila. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Last call of the day. Nafisa. What do you say, Nafisa? You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Did you hear me right now?
I got you now. How you doing?
I'm good. Sorry for the name. The name is for my wife phone. My name is Mahat. Yeah, I'm going for that, Mahat. And I come I'm in the United States, Wisconsin. So I came here for 4 years ago. I crossed the border from Mexico. Did you hear me well?
I got you.
Yeah, I crossed the border from Mexico, and when I was coming, I was 17 years old. I was underage, so and I was that side. I'm still my asylum is pending. I'm waiting for asylum for my asylum on that side. But after 2 years, before 2 years, I get married for my wife, 2020. So and then about after 2021, we had one baby. And now. When I was married, my wife, before she was working, she finished high school and she was working at that 1 year, and we got married for then. And when we get married, I was working because when I come here, they give me work permit, so I'm still have that work permit. I was working, and she don't I don't. She just my wife. She was working home. I'm the only one was making everything. I was making enough money since then. I'm making the income all the house. And what happened is, I'm planning to apply on her merit green card based on her for I-130 and I-145.
You can't.
But the thing is,
you can't file a 45. You can't file a 45. You're under the jurisdiction of the immigration court.
Okay, why not?
Because unless you're an arriving alien, USCIS doesn't have jurisdiction to decide your 485 because you're in deportation.
No, I'm not, because they don't take me interview. I just when I come the country, they interview me but they don't give me appointment to interview, second interview, which they decided my case, but they don't do it. Since then, it's been 4 years, so I get that life for my wife on that side. So that's what we decide to apply I-130. But the thing is, do I need to have a sponsor? Well, I'm making like enough money, so that's my question.
But you're not. But you can't do what you want to do.
Okay.
You're not eligible. You could file the I-130, and you should have filed the I-130. You haven't filed the I-130 yet?
No.
Yeah, you probably need a lawyer. But at the
I'm gonna find the lawyer. But the question is, like, my question is going like the
later
sponsor
on
stuff.
Yeah, that's a long time from now, because first you have to get the I-130 approved. But yes, you'll need a co-sponsor. Yes.
Like, they don't count my income. Like, well, I'm making enough money.
You could be a millionaire. Nobody cares. It's all about your spouse.
Oh, she don't make money, so we have to have a sponsor. That's what I understand.
Yeah, but get that I-130 on file. You're wasting time.
I will do it. Thank you so much.
All right, good luck. All right, everybody, that'll do it for today's show. I will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central. That'll be episode number 230 something. 232 will be tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central. Hope you all have a great night. Huli, thanks for womaning the phones. We appreciate you, as always. You're the best. And remember, our schedule now is Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 4, Fridays at 3. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you get on our text list, because sometimes we mix it up a little bit. So make sure you send that text over and we'll get you on the list. And that way you'll get updated whenever we change the meeting time. Just text the word show to 314-470-3300.